Why do they keep inflating the system? Why do they keep doing this policy of almost zero rates and fiscal spending to fight deflation? Well, because they're actually trying to keep the financial system from collapsing. They've been doing that since the early 90s. It's been a wasted 3.5 decades by now. And because they don't want to let the big banks fail in Japan, it's the same thing. Thursday, October 3rd, 2024, Maneko 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I said a couple of days ago that October was a good month or a great month because it was my birthday. So today is my birthday, actually, and as you can see, I'm not at home. My wife and I have traveled for a few days, and yes, guess where we are? We are in Rome, and I'm in the hotel right now. It's very early. It's like 5 to 7 a.m. Rome is about 6 hours ahead of Eastern. Well, it is 6 hours ahead of Eastern time, so I'm 1 hour ahead of London as well. I've gotten up early because there's not many people around. Breakfast starts at 7:30. And yes, I am following what's going on in the world. And we're going to talk about something that I think is really important that I saw that came out yesterday about Japan. And it's the fact that the BOJ is reversing policy and condemning the yen to worthlessness, which is not surprising. And it's all to do with the yen carry trade. It's all to do with the strength of, with monetary policy in other places in the world. But before we go further, just a little update on our holiday or our break to Rome. We're going to do a lot of sightseeing. We've been here for, we arrived a couple of days ago at night. Yesterday, we already walked a lot, and there's so much to see, of course, in Rome. And yes, Rome is like an open-air museum, I would say. It's very historic. You can judge the history whichever way you want, but you have to admit it's a great place to come and visit. And October is a good time because it's not very hot. I see that it's raining this morning, but hopefully it will get better. Yesterday, we did a lot of walking around, and I'm just going to put a picture here of where we were. You might guess. Today, we're going to go tour the Pantheon and probably walk around. We're going to have dinner for my birthday later on. We booked a restaurant. And I'll try to keep updating you as well as possible. So let's go back to Japan. And the other thing I like to say, though, before I go further, I know there's a lot of chaotic things happening in the world, especially the Middle East, especially, politically. And sometimes you just got to put that on, you got to ignore the noise. And I'm not saying I don't feel bad for what's going on both sides in the Middle East, but you got to live your life. And I guess you have to be grateful to be able to be somewhere where it's quite peaceful, and hopefully things will be solved in that part of the world and everywhere, really. But be as it may, Bank of Japan. And as all of you, not all of you, many of you know, the new viewers and subscribers might not know about it. I've been warning about the Japanese yen carry trade for many years because it's a provider of liquidity to the world's financial markets. And the way for that to stay present is for Japanese rates, interest rates to stay near zero or even negative. It's for the authorities in Japan, be it the Bank of Japan or the government, to keep monetary and fiscal policy really loose. So these are all the conditions to make sure the yen stays weak so people can borrow in yen. It's a very liquid market internationally, and that's why it's so important. They sell the yen, they borrow the yen, you sell it in the market, you receive dollars or pounds or euros, and with those you buy higher yielding, riskier assets, and that's what the carry trade is all about. But in the last year or so, it's been in question because the Bank of Japan has had to tighten policy, even though it's still doing QE. It's raised rates twice from negative to like 0.25. It's still only 0.25. But by the beginning of August this year, it was creating a lot of trouble. The Nikkei dropped over 13% on August 5th. The NASDAQ was down 1,200 points in the pre-market on that day, and it was creating a lot of troubles. But ever since August, a lot has changed. The Federal Reserve they cut rates on the 18th of September by 50 basis points. All the other central banks, major central banks like the ECB and the Bank of England, are starting to cut rates again. And even more importantly, we have had the Chinese, the communist Chinese, loosen policy as well. They've come with their stimulus. They've cut the reserve requirement ratio. They've cut rates. They're going to inject the economy with hundreds of billions of dollars. They're even going to send checks to the most needy in China. So as I was saying, since August 5th, things have changed. And I was wondering, like a week ago or so, whether we would see the Japanese reverse course. And what do I mean by that? Well, I thought that with all the other major countries loosening monetary policy and even fiscal policy like in China, when it was only a matter of time that the Japanese were going to reverse their policy. They're not going to be as tough. And lo and behold, yesterday, October 2nd, I've got this story here from the Japan Times website. It says Ishiba says Japan not ready for a rate hike after meeting BOJ's Ueda. So Ishida, he's the prime minister. He met the governor of the central bank, and it says Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and said Japan is not in an environment for an additional rate hike in an apparent effort to shake off his reputation as a monetary hawk. After meeting with Bank of Japan Governor Kazuo Ueda on Wednesday, and I quote, "I do not believe that we are in an environment that would require us to raise interest rates further," Ishiba told reporters Wednesday night, adding he was not in a position to instruct a central bank on monetary policy. And I continue, this is him still, "I have told the government that I expect the economy to continue to develop sustainably while maintaining its current easing trend, and that the economy will continue to move towards overcoming deflation." Well, they don't have deflation in Japan. The Japanese yen is quickly becoming worth less and less. And I'm not talking about the yen versus the dollar. I'm talking the yen versus gold, because gold is the ultimate measure of value, as we know, or you should know on this channel. That's what I've been harping on about. And I think the yen, the price of gold in yen is going to explode. And it's been leading the way in terms of going up. And in the last year or so, it's kind of paused here, as you can see by this chart. But I think very soon we'll be above 400,000. And but to these guys, they think they have a danger of deflation, even though prices are rising. And I have viewers in Japan, and they can attest to that. Maybe comment below. The cost of living for the average Japanese is not improving. The people at the bottom, and it's not going to get better. And why do they keep inflating the system? Why do they keep doing this policy of almost zero rates and fiscal spending to fight deflation? Well, because they're actually trying to keep the financial system from collapsing. They've been doing that since the early 90s. It's been a wasted 3.5 decades by now. And because they don't want to let the big banks fail in Japan, it's the same thing. So at the meeting, Ueda's first with the new prime minister. So he's a new prime minister since he was officially appointed on Tuesday. Ueda said that the central bank was supporting Japan's economy and will move cautiously in deciding whether to raise interest rates further. And this is what he said: I told the prime minister that we're supporting the economy with loose monetary conditions. So there you go. I mean, it's just not surprising to me. I said back in the beginning of August, when we had a real mini crisis with the yen carry trade, unwinding of it, that Japan was in danger of wrecking the everything bubble. I said the only way they wouldn't do it is if they, when push came to shove, that they would reverse everything, and here we are, and they have. So what's the consequence of this, not just for Japan and the yen, but for us in the UK or in the US, in the EU? Well, it's going to mean more and more loose money, loose fiscal policy, more inflation of the currency supply, and China is going along with it. So I don't see the currencies, the fiat currencies, appreciating versus real money, gold and silver, anytime soon. I see continued tough conditions for the general public, those who aren't like in the top 1% and can safeguard their living standards by having millions or billions in assets to protect themselves versus currency debasement. So Japan has been the poster child of this currency debasement, loose policy, monetary or fiscal game, and it's leading the world, and it's just reversed. So as I said earlier, they're condemning the yen to worthlessness, and it's going to be the same thing for us, be it in pounds, dollars, euros, Aussie dollars, yuan, any of these fiat currencies. So as I said, it's pretty early. It's just gone past 7 a.m. I've seen that the markets have been pretty choppy in terms of the precious metals. I think they still look really quite positive. They're still fighting here a little bit. Silver, the 32 level. I mean, gold is pretty much near the all-time highs of 26.84 or thereabouts. But we could still see a little bit of consolidation, I would say, but longer term, be it in the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I think, it's still the place to be. I don't see policymakers doing anything to make their fiat currencies strong. They can't. As for economic data, I guess we have the non-farm payroll number tomorrow. That's Friday in the U.S., October 4th. And with that, I'm going to, log off here. I'm in one of the rooms in the lobby. It's pretty quiet here. I shut the doors. There's some big doors around. And what I'm going to do now is wish you all a very good day. And I'm going to go upstairs. My wife's still asleep. And then we're going to go have some breakfast and explore what they call, I guess, the Eternal City. And yeah, I'm going to talk about the Vatican tomorrow, and specifically the Vatican Central Bank, not the Vatican Bank, and how they helped the Federal Reserve back in the 70s keep the price of gold down. Yeah, and I have proof of that. I've spoken about that before, but being that I'm in Rome, I think that's a good topic to cover. So yeah, that will be out tomorrow, hopefully. And yeah, Rudy's back at home. He's safe. He's been looked after. And yeah, that's it. So have a great day. Take care. Bye.